Hello, everybody, and welcome to Keeping It Young podcast, conversations about marriage, family, and ministry life. I'm Dave.
And I'm Bethany.
And we are the Youngs.
Yes, we are.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And we're just thrilled and excited to be able to come and share some more truths with you about marriage and family.
Yes.
And we just finished the series recently on technology in the family.
Yes.
And I thought we'd take a little bit of a different direction here.
Yes.
And you be just praying for us. We're working on all kinds of things. We're working on a couples conference we're probably going to be doing next year, in which we're going to invite you, our listeners, to come, a couples retreat.
So exciting. I love couples retreats.
We're going to be working on that. We hope many of you will sign up.
Yes.
That'll be in October, I think.
Please come.
And we're looking for Gatlinburg, Tennessee, probably. Mm-hmm. And maybe some other in other places, but that's the first one we've been working on.
Keeping It Young takes Gatlinburg.
Well, I don't know if we're going to call it that or not.
Okay.
But maybe a little ring to it there. And of course, we've been working on some sponsorships, and we will in coming weeks be recording some sessions on video that we will be making available for you to purchase online.
Oh,
and,
so you won't just be listening; you will be
watching. So my wife will have to behave during these things.
I behave.
And so it's we're just so excited about it.
It is
and
exciting.
Thank you so much for all of you that message us on Facebook or Twitter or send us an email, and we're just always honored by that. Keep up with us.
Yes.
If you'd like to sign up for our personal ministry newsletter, that's at evangelistdaveyoung.com. Mm-hmm. And you can go on there and sign up for our newsletter. We're mailing that out and periodically, and you can keep a track of kind of where we are. And
right.
If we are ministering in your area, we would love for some of you to come see us.
Come see us.
And we cover a lot of territory. Just coming up this summer, we're in a lot of different places, and these weeks are busy, but we are in a lot of places. So come see us. We'd love for that to happen. We're going to start a new series today, and just maybe a 2-week series. We might go further, but a 2-week series. We're just going to call it 5 Steps You Can Take Today. And so today we're going to talk about 5 steps you can take today to a better marriage.
Yes.
A better marriage. 5 steps you can take today. Right now today. If you're married, you can take these steps today. And they will change your marriage and up your marriage. And they're awesome. And so we got 5 for you. You ready to jump in?
Absolutely.
All right, you go. And here's the first one. 5 steps you can take today.
Oh, I like the way you put this. Express effusive gratitude as frequently as possible.
I put that in there for you.
Effusive
gratitude.
I love it.
I'm not even sure what that means, but it sounds good.
It's a lot of gratitude.
Express a lot of gratitude as frequently as possible. Mm-hmm. And, I read an article some months ago from The Art of Manliness. Mm-hmm. And it's a blog site that my sons and I read occasionally together, and we share articles from it and whatever. And one of the things the author on there said is that there's no better grease in the gears of love than gratitude. That's pretty cool. That's kind of a manly thing to say. In the gears of love.
It does sound manly to say
it that way. No better grease in the gears of love.
But it's true. It's true.
It is true. And here's what he said, that sometimes we tend to forget, that romantic love isn't so mysterious, but is based on the fulfillment of basic human needs, one of the strongest of which is simply to be recognized and appreciated. And recognition and appreciation goes a long way.
Yes.
To say thank you.
Yes.
And we're always working on that with our children.
Yes.
One of the things I've encouraged our kids to do quite frequently is to say thank you to their siblings who do chores. And it's easy for the kids to think, well, I did it yesterday, so he can do it today.
Right, it's just a chore.
Yeah, but it makes a huge difference when my daughter says to her brother, thank you for doing the dishes today.
Right.
Or thank you for vacuuming today, she says to him. Or he says to her, thank you. It makes a huge difference in our family.
It does, and it's good training.
It's good training. But it also makes a huge difference in a marriage.
Yes.
To say thank you. And if you've heard me teach much on the family, you've heard me probably tell the story about the day that I was home and busy, and we're not home real often. And so when we do go home, there's a ton to do.
Yes.
Jake has orthodontist appointments, and we have to catch up on, and there's car and vehicle maintenance, and equipment maintenance so we can get back on the road into our revival ministry.
Right.
And there's all kinds of things to do, plus just normal house stuff, catching up on the to-do list of keeping the house in order and taking care of the yard and the trees and all of those kind of things. And I had my list, and I was so busy one day, and I ran into the house, and I think maybe maybe you were cooking or doing dishes. I remember you were in
I
the
was
kitchen.
in the kitchen. Uh-huh.
And Bethany just stopped me and said, "Hey, honey." And I stopped for a moment, in the middle of my busy lifestyle. And she just simply said to me, "Thank you for all the work you do to make our home look so beautiful and keep everything in order here." Mm-hmm. And it was such a powerful thing. It stopped everything. And in the busyness of, oh my word, I got to get that done, knowing that I was appreciated for it,
right,
made doing it enjoyable. Mm-hmm. And it brought us a level of connection.
Right.
And so we just had to drop everything right there and go give her a big kiss. And we won't go any further with that. But expressing appreciation matters.
Right.
And we found an article in which it had given a bunch of examples. Any of those stand out to you, my love? There's quite a few there.
Well, there are several. I mean, thanks for everything. Thanks for making coffee. Thanks for making dinner. Thank you for making the dishes. Thank you for taking the kids.
doing the dishes, not making the dishes.
Did I say making the dishes?
Yeah.
Thank you for making dinner. Thank you for doing the dishes. Oh.
I mean, somebody had to make the dishes, but we don't typically make those.
No, we don't. Thank you for taking the kids to the doctor. The next one, I really enjoyed our night last night. Let's put it that way. So we can keep it
I was hoping
PG.
You just would read that and get
we'll
caught
keep
off guard.
it PG for the audience here. We didn't ask anybody to put earbuds in there.
Here's another one. Thanks for hanging out with my brother. I know he can be pretty annoying.
Just honestly, neither one of us have said that, just in case our siblings are listening.
Bethany's brother, my brother, if you're listening, that was not said about us.
We don't say that.
But sometimes when we do give ourselves to each other's family to say thank you for doing, that's huge.
Thank you for giving of your time for my family.
Thanks for spending time with my family.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks for spending time with my mom or my dad. That's huge.
Yes, it is.
This next one I like. Thanks for staying in shape and not letting yourself go. You look awesome.
That's great. I love it. And then there's thanks for putting away laundry. Thank you for taking care of me when I was sick. I really admire how disciplined you are when you're training for your triathlon.
Which I am not. But,
no, he's not. He does have a hurt knee, so that's not in his future right now. Okay. Thanks for making our house feel so homey. You look beautiful or you look handsome tonight. These are all just ways to express effusive gratitude. And I think one of the reasons David put effusive in the point is because sometimes we can actually think about it. It can run across our brain. My spouse did that for me, and that was pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it gets lost in there because of the busyness of our life, and it doesn't actually come out of our mouth. Yep. And so it does
what can you do today?
Come out of
what
our
can
mouth.
You do today that'll just today make your marriage better? Today you can work on saying thank you, expressing effusive gratitude.
Yes.
And so stop right now, you that are married, and think about how you're going to express gratitude today.
Yes.
Say it 3 or 4 or 5 times at least. Today. Thank you. And we can even let that spill over. We're talking to spouses here, but to some of you aren't married, but how long has it been since you expressed gratitude to a roommate or to your best friend or to your mom or dad or to your boss or to your secretary or to your coworker? Gratitude is one of the marks of genuine Christianity.
Yes, a thankful heart is a happy heart. And a lot of times when we are getting ourselves in a snit over something, it's because we're not being grateful.
You just said snit.
I did.
How
getting
in
a snit.
In a snit. Is that the same thing as being up a miffed tree?
Yes.
Okay, I just wondering about that. I'm not sure what a miffed tree is either.
I don't either. But
if you're in a snit, get out of it and be thankful. Is that what you're saying?
Think about what a snit is. You will know what a snit is. And so if you're in a snit,
if you don't, just fake it.
Thankful. I'm so thankful for you.
I'm thankful for you too.
But do vocalize it today. And if you can't vocalize it, if you're not together, if your husband's traveling or whatever, text it.
Email it.
Write a note. Write it on the bathroom mirror in the steam from the shower. That's always fun.
With soap. Somebody will have to clean off, but it'll be thankful.
Well, wonderful things happen when you're thankful.
So there's all kinds of things. Think of what you could do today. This is what you can do today to have a better marriage. Number one, you can express effusive gratitude. What's the second one?
Smile at each other as often as possible. This is so important.
It is.
It is.
It's huge. Just to smile.
Yes.
And to begin your morning with smiling at each other. To walk in the door from work and smile at each other.
First thing in the morning, is that what you're saying?
Well,
First thing in the morning,
but close
open
to
your
it.
eyes.
Close to it.
Might look a little creepy.
What are you trying to say about me there, love?
No. Oh, dear. Well, anyway, you all know what I'm saying.
There's a little image for your minds, people. A creepy smile first thing in the morning.
Oh, my.
Well, here's some quotes I found online. I thought they were just awesome. Okay. Phyllis Diller. She's an older comedian. A smile is a curve that sets everything straight. Mother Teresa said, peace begins with a smile. Someone said, a smile is a friend maker. Someone else said, if you have only one smile in you, give it to the ones you love. Oh. I thought that was good.
Yes.
And this one's good, too. Nothing you wear is more important than your smile.
It's true.
It's
very true. You know what? We are in such, people are just burdened down these days. There's so much going on in our culture that can be burdensome. And then maybe even just in your personal life, there are things that are burdensome. And maybe you're just a busy mommy and it's burdensome. And you wear your day on your face. I know that I have to be careful about that. If there's so much going on, it shows up in my face. And I don't smile at David. And it's not that I'm upset at him. It's not that I'm even upset at my day. It's just been busy, and I'm sobered by it, or I'm maybe a little stressed or whatever. But a smile, especially the smile that you have for each other as spouses, Absolutely. That's very special, and it's something you can do today to reassure that one. Yep, I've had a busy day, but I love you.
William Shakespeare said, a smile cures the wounding of a frown. That was a good line. And Joel Osteen, of all people.
And you're quoting Joel Osteen.
I am. Joel Osteen said, a smile resets your mood.
There you go.
And I thought, you know what? That's very true.
Yes.
Because a smile does. It can reset the entire mood of a room, a smile.
Yes.
A disagreement that results in a genuine smile.
Yes.
Resets the whole mood. And I agreed with him on that one. F. Scott Fitzgerald. You like literature, so read that one, my love.
I like this one. It was only a sunny smile, and little it cost in the giving, but like morning light, it scattered the night and made the day worth living.
Didn't she read that like an English teacher?
I love that quote.
I knew you did. That's why I put it in there for you. Here's even a few humorous ones. W.C. Fields said, start every day with a smile and get it over with.
There's that creepy smile, I told you.
And Minnie Mouse said, smile and let the world wonder why.
I think they will just assume that you have a happy heart.
That's right.
There you go.
So smile at each other as often as possible. You can do that today.
Yes.
You know how easy it is to be bothered or distracted?
Yes.
It's so easy to be disgusted by the world around us.
Yes.
Frustrated.
Yes, or zoned into a technological device. And
Absolutely.
If you are, there are some podcasts for that.
The last 4 we highly recommend. Smile at each other as often as possible.
Yes.
And that's something you can absolutely, without doubt, do today.
Yes.
It'll make your marriage better. So
yes, it will.
You can express effusive gratitude, and you can do that today.
Yes.
You can smile at each other as often as possible, and you can do that today.
Today.
What else could we do today to have a better marriage?
Number 3, always acknowledge each other's presence.
This is one, I'm going to be honest with you, this is one that we've put in here because one of our observations of couples is that they don't acknowledge each other's presence.
It's really strange because to me, this is just a no-brainer.
Yes.
If David is in the room, I acknowledge that he is there.
We've observed couples where she's talking and he walks in the room and there's no acknowledgement that he's even there.
Right. There's no bringing the other spouse into the conversation.
She stands on the edge waiting for him to finish the conversation, and he never acknowledges her. And he just kind of ignores her like she's not there. And we've actually seen couples where one of the spouses walks in and is there for a while and walks out, and it's almost like the spouse didn't even know his better half was even in the room with him.
Was even there.
And so acknowledging each other's presence is huge. And it's something that you have to do on purpose, but you ought to be close enough that it becomes second nature to you.
Right.
In the sense that you ought to be aware of that. And can I say this gently to you men that are listening? If you're having a conversation and your wife comes up and is standing by you and it irritates you, I would think there's some spirit you need to work on there. You need to work on being closer to your wife, but you need to work on your own spirit. Because if you're irritated because your wife is listening to you talk, it could be, I suppose for a wife, it could be the wife's fault. Maybe she has, rolls her eyes and sighs at all of his jokes. And so here he is telling a joke, and all of a sudden
he feels that she's being critical.
But when you're for each other and you turn even our can I say, faults into endearments. The idea, you can say, oh, my word, there he is telling that joke again. Or you can say, isn't that adorable? He always tells that joke. One of those is a positive, I love that man.
Right.
The other one is a negative, oh, my word, the guy drives me nuts. And that puts a wedge between you and your spouse.
Right.
But the idea of acknowledging each other's presence can be just as something as simple as when you walk into a room saying hello and meaning it. Hello.
Right.
Or good morning.
Right.
Or a goodbye.
Right. We often, because we have, we are just so blessed in the United States, and most families have more than one vehicle that they drive to church in. So often the husband and the wife drive separately for whatever reason, and that's not always wrong. Sometimes there are other things you have to do at the service, and so, but we have seen couples that one's already there and the other walks in, and they don't even acknowledge that they are there.
Yeah, it's like they're
in the
strangers
service.
to each
and then
other.
they go and sit down together, and they haven't greeted one another. Or we've seen on the opposite end of that. The wife is leaving or the husband is leaving, and they never even say, well, hey, I'm going to the house or anything like that.
It's not like,
just,
do you need anything?
Yeah.
Hey, I'll see you later.
Leave.
I'll see you at the house.
So I know I'm laughing, and if this is you, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be laughing at you, but it seems very foreign to me.
It always throws us off.
It does.
And
David and I are...
Did they even know each other was in the room?
We are just of a mind that if anyone needs to know that we're leaving, it's our spouse.
Yeah,
so
always acknowledge each other's presence. And we think in terms of ministry and being in church, but even out in public, or even in your house.
Right,
when
in
your
private.
When your husband comes in from work, acknowledge his presence.
Yes.
If your wife's gone to the grocery store and she comes in, acknowledge her presence.
Yes.
Make sure she's more important than whatever you're watching on TV, whatever you're working on.
Right.
And it doesn't mean you have to drop everything and make
True.
out.
Well,
you could. Not opposed to that. But all it just means is taking the time to acknowledge, to say, hey, you doing all right?
Yes.
And anything
How was
you need.
Walmart?
And
Yes.
so that's a huge one. Always acknowledging each other's presence is a huge one.
Yes.
And we won't take too much time here on these last two, but these last two kind of go together with this. And the four. Well, let's review again. Because this is what you can do today.
Yes.
Express
effusive gratitude.
And my wife likes that.
Every day.
As frequently as possible.
Yes.
And the second one was?
Is smile at each other every day.
Absolutely. And then the third one, acknowledge.
Acknowledge each other's presence.
Always acknowledge.
Every day throughout the day.
And the last two here are pretty simple. Number 4?
Yes. Talk.
Just talk.
Talk to each other today.
Chat. Have at least some time where you just chat. How's your day? How are you doing?
Right.
What's bothering you? What's frustrating you? How can I help with the kids? How's the son doing?
Or first thing in the morning, usually we ask each other, what's on your agenda today? What's on your calendar?
Well, not first thing, but...
No, we don't do the creepy smile first.
Roll over, creepy smile. What's on your agenda today? No,
oh, my word.
She doesn't do that first thing in the morning.
I am going to lose it. Oh, dear.
But somewhere in the morning before we get the day going, we
goodness.
just chat a few moments about what's on your agenda.
Usually during our walk.
Bethany will ask me that, what's on your agenda today? And sometimes I don't know what's on my agenda that day. But that's okay. You're still talking. And part of talking is listening. And taking the time to listen, to put everything else on hold.
Right.
But talking is huge.
It is huge.
And you think it's a given. You think it's, of course we talk to each other. But and you don't have to spend hours, but often in the normal events of life, we miss many opportunities just to chat.
Just a small connection.
And you put all these together, showing gratitude is talking.
Yes.
And smiling at each other opens the door for a connection that can result in talking.
Smiling at each other is acknowledging each other's presence.
And often acknowledging each other's presence involves and sometimes I know when I'm talking and Bethany's on the edge and I realize that she is there but isn't part of the group, I'll just reach out and touch her arm and kind of pull her in.
Oh, absolutely.
Or ask her a question. So,
right.
Or if it's an audience where she hasn't met who I'm talking to, say, hey, by the way, let me introduce you to my wife. And then sometimes conversations can become, when there's a group, one-to-one, but I will often try to be aware of Bethany around me and say, what do you think about that, love?
Right.
And honestly, my wife typically thinks something about it.
So you're talking about
her in.
talking.
Yeah.
here, bringing your spouse into a conversation if you're having a conversation with someone else. Yes.
So talk to each other. Put when I say put everything else on hold, there's nothing wrong with watching a football game,
right?
But don't become so connected to your device that you spend 4 or 5 hours a day playing video games, but you don't take the time to find out how your wife is doing. Look, if you're 30-year-old and video games are more important than your marriage, you need some counsel.
Yes.
You really need some counsel.
That's a whole nother podcast, I would say.
I think it is too, but it's not uncommon.
Right.
Unfortunately. And so talking is a huge deal.
Well, usually I would think in the normal daily life of a Christian home, it's just busy. It's just busyness and talking to each other about things outside of what do you need to do with the kids? What do you need to do today? Outside of that, we just don't talk to each other.
Sure. In one of our podcasts, we call that task-centric.
Yes.
Instead of pleasure-centric conversation.
Right.
So talking to each other is important. And see, here's the point we're making. 5 things you can do today.
Yes.
Today you can be grateful. Today you can smile. Today you can acknowledge each other's presence. Today you can talk. And there's one more here.
And today you can touch.
And, we can joke, and we do, obviously, and many times we're sincere even when we're joking in certain ways, but touch is non-sexual touch. Just the time to hold hands. When's the last time you and your spouse held hands? When you're walking into church, hold hands. When you are going into a restaurant, hold hands. Just the touch. Or getting a door for your wife and helping her into the car. Just that touch of reaching out and steadying her as she's crawling into your SUV or out of your SUV.
Right.
It's just touch, and it makes a huge difference.
It does. It's just that step up in affection that you have for each other as a married couple, instead of, just this people at the grocery store. You're not going to go around the grocery store and put your arm around people necessarily. And if you do, they might ask you to leave, especially now with COVID.
Probably.
But you're not going to go around the grocery store and do that with strangers or even in your church family so much. But you are married, and your affection should be something that is shown every day by touch.
And that's holding hands or just kissing throughout the day just because. Just, hey, I'm leaving for work. Yeah. And you pause long enough to run over and give each other a kiss.
Yes.
You can do that today. When you walk in from work and you meet each other after a day apart, to greet each other with just a kiss or with a hug. Just hold me for a minute.
Yes.
Sitting together. Sit together in church. Just take time to pause. Go sit by each other for a moment.
Sit by each other.
We always sit together at meals.
Yes.
And so that Bethley's always near me, and we say thank you for our meal. When we pray at our meal, we hold hands.
Yes.
There's all kinds of opportunities throughout a day for non-sexual connecting touch.
Absolutely.
And that's certainly important.
It is.
Well, here's 5 things you can do today.
Yes.
And they'll help you to have a better marriage.
Up your marriage just today. And if you do all 5 of these things today, wow, it's just going to be sparkling at supper time. That's what I think.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
And
then
times
sizzling after.
Absolutely. So here's 5 things you can do today.
Yes.
And, I was thinking about this as I was putting all this together for this podcast today. You could probably think of others.
Yes.
And so here's what I'd like to ask you to do. Shoot us a text or a message, or run over to our podcast website, keepingityoungpodcast.com.
That would be a great idea.
Send Bethley and me what you would do. If you were going to do your 5 things you could do today to a better marriage.
Yes.
Or maybe you would just do two things you would do today, or even one. Send us a couple, 1 or 2 or 3, or do 5 if you want. We would love to hear your take on it.
Yes, please do. That would be awesome.
That would help us, and we're helping you. So
any suggestion is always good. Marriage should always be growing.
And it would be nice. We'll put them all together if they're really good. Give them on a podcast.
Oh, yeah. Do another 5 things.
Absolutely. 5 more things.
There we go.
Okay. Well, our time is gone. And any other comment or thought before we sign off today?
Well, I'm going to give you effusive gratitude.
Bring it on.
For listening to our podcast today. Did you think I was going to give effusive gratitude? I have effusive gratitude to you for putting these notes together for me, and for putting them on the iPad with larger letters so I can see them without my glasses.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
You are awesome.
Thank you so much. And we do say thank you for you that listen to us and join us. we are enjoying sharing our life with you.
Yes.
This is Keeping It Young Podcast. Thanks for joining us. And wherever you are and whatever you're doing, our prayer is that you'll have a great day. We'll see you next week.
The Keeping It Young Podcast is a Bax 5 Media production. All rights reserved.